Hi, I'm WTOP Entertainment Editor Jason Fraley, and I'm here with Carmen Cusack, the star of Bright Star here at the Kennedy Center, and also director Walter Bobbie here at the Kennedy Center. And he's already directing where we should put our poster and how we should. I mean, he's a director at heart here. I love it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having us.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Now, how did you guys? Let's just start with how did you come on board with this particular production? So it's co-created by Edie Brickell and Steve Martin. You may have heard of them. But how did they get you involved, sir?
I've actually known Steve for a long time socially, and he and Barry Edelstein, who is the artistic director of the Old Globe, thought that I should look at the material, and I said I'd love to. And Steve literally walked over the script to my apartment because we only live a few blocks away from each other.
Is this in LA or?
No, this is in New York.
Oh, okay.
His place in New York. And I read it, and I got to the end of the first act, and I was sitting in my chair, and I had the most remarkable and unique experience. I literally gasped, which doesn't happen when you read it. And I just went,
what page did you gasp on? Was it
the end of the first act?
Oh, good.
And I went, oh my God, I have to do this. And also, for me, it's not always just the materials, it's the opportunity to work with remarkable people.
Right.
And we spent a couple of days together talking about where the script was at that time. And I thought, this man is a natural collaborator. I can't wait to get to work with him. And so that's how I came on board. I was happy to see what it could become.
You mentioned natural collaborator. What makes him such a good collaborator?
Well, I think Carmen will agree that Carmen and I did the first reading of a New York station film in Vassar. And what the script was then, and what it is now, and what the score was, that you need people who are willing and open-minded to change, adapt, let go of material. I mean,
he has no ego with his material, and I don't know if that comes from being a comic first, that you just have to continue to try things in front of an audience.
Maybe, yeah.
And very much that, I think that's what writing a good musical is about, is staying open-minded, staying open-hearted, and taking corrective criticism, and also just being sensitive to what the audience is informing you about. And there's just been no ego at all with both of them, and they've continued to evolve, and along with this story that we're all learning about every day.
Yeah. It's usually you're very rarely involved with an original musical. Mm-hmm. Most musicals are adaptations from other sources, novels, films,
right,
and plays. Original musicals are very rare, and because you don't even know what the story is yet, you're still evolving. I mean, characters have come and gone, mm-hmm, plot lines have come and gone, and you have to be as open-minded. And Steve, of course, is a novelist as well.
Yeah.
And to let the story and the characters drive the score. And I would say we only have probably 3 songs that remain from when we began the show.
Yeah, that's true. You mentioned not even knowing what the story is yet. We all know, but we should probably tell our listeners what Bright Star is about. So, well, first of all, it's correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this Kennedy Center run is like a pre-run before you guys head to Broadway, right? So explain what exactly, if they come see it at the Kennedy Center, what they're going to see, the World War II. Well, I'll let you guys tell it, but why don't you take away just a quick synopsis?
Well, without giving up too much information, they're going to come probably expecting something that's very, very comedy-driven, but this is truth-driven. But there's a lot of comedy in it. But there is a real story to tell.
See, he was right. He was right. See, but that's what we're just gonna roll with it. That's fine. That's fine.
I'm just gonna hold it right here. And
see, there's comedy in the truth of that falling. See, that's what it's all about. We planned it to go right as she said that. So there you go.
But it's based off of something that actually did occur. And they took it from there. It's a story about family and forgiveness. And I'm going to hand it over to
it's
Ryan.
really
I know we don't want to spoil the plot.
Well, it's about someone finding the truth of their own past in a profound way. And because it's Steve Martin and Edie Brickell, obviously there's a great deal of humor.
Yeah.
But it is not, a wild and wacky comedy. It's a heartfelt human drama with a lot of good laughs.
Tell us about your character.
My character, she is incredibly, she's smart, she's gifted, comes from a really small town, but she knows from the get-go that she's smarter than what this town can offer. She knows she's going to do something with her life. She loves books. She's loves words. She just luxuriates in literature, and she wants to do something. She wants to be educated. And this is a gal, that grew up in the 1920s, grows into an adult in the 1940s, and does become a literary woman. She becomes an editor of a magazine.
A literary magazine.
A literary magazine. And in the 1940s, which is really rare, but she was a very headstrong woman. She came upon a couple of things that happened to her very young in her life, but she pulled herself up by her straps and got on with life, and isn't that what we all do?
40s Writer magazine. I'm thinking Barbara Stanwyck, Christmas in Connecticut, His Girl Friday. That was the 40s. So
you know what? Those are the kind of women that they're sort of archetypes. But yes, those Roz Russell, Barbara Stanwyck, Catherine Head was the smart, strong women, emancipated well before their times. And basically, Carmen's character begins as a young, feisty, willful young girl in the 20s. The play takes place in the 20s and the 40s, and we see her evolve and all of that willful determination becomes her greatest strength.
Absolutely.
Both in her resilience of the obstacles that come her way, and her ability to be a great professional in her maturity.
Definitely. You mentioned how much of a privilege it was collaborating with such, known commodities as Steve Martin and Edie Brickell, but it must have been still pretty cool and almost, mind-blowing to know that you're working with the Tony winner here, who revived Chicago so brilliantly in the 90s. He's also a well-known name here. So was it a little thrilling for you in that regard too? When you got cast, you said, "Oh my God, I'm working with him."
It was very daunting, especially, throughout the process, now that I've started to be a bit more comfortable with all these incredibly intelligent people.
This is when we make you blush.
Successful people. But it was very daunting in the early stages when, Steve is as close as you, Steve and Edie.
Yeah.
I mean, Edie Brickell, I grew up, what I am is what I am. What you are. I
Be in the shallow water before you get too deep.
Oh my goodness. And then Steve Martin,
Of course. Do you have a quick favorite Steve Martin movie before we dish on him too much?
The Jerk.
The Jerk? Yeah. He hates these cans. Never forget it.
It's all the stuff. Anyway, so it's rather daunting at the beginning, because he'll rewrite something, he'll put it right in front of you, and you just gotta, on the spot, just do something with it. And then I just thought, all I can do is what is coming completely organic and natural to me.
Right.
And they're digging it. So I'm like, I just have to keep doing that because they seem to be liking that. So, and then it's been a real kind of wonderful journey for me because I've started to trust my own instincts as well, because here are these incredibly intelligent people and they're not doubting what I'm doing for the most part.
That empowers your own.
And it's been so empowering.
That's awesome. And before we go too much down, I don't want to sidetrack from Bright Star too much, but memories of the Chicago revival. I do want to get your fond memories of that because it just swung through here. I think was it National Theater, and we interviewed. Remember Jay Peterman from Seinfeld was in the role of the Richard Gere role in the movie. But what do you remember all these years later? Because let's see, that was '96, I think. So it's almost exactly 20 years later. Thanks for bringing it back to us. And what was it like trying to not be Bob Fosse, but you know what I mean? Like, remake it your own.
I think that when Bob's agent, Bob Fosse's agent, said, I think one of the best compliments I've ever read, he said, if Bob was still alive, that's how he would have done it.
Nice.
And I felt like when Anne Reinking and I were working on it together, Bob was in the room because we didn't want to revive his production. We used Chicago to create an homage to his career, to his visual imagination, to his sensibility. So it feels very much a tribute to him. It feels like a Bob Fosse show, and yet it's really not very much like his original production at all. I could say that what I loved about that, and what I'm loving about this, and I think it's thanks to both my situation in Encores at the time and now our situation with Joey Parnes, who's our producer, is I feel we're off in a room doing our work. I had no expectations with Chicago. Ann and I were in a room with Rob Fisher, and we were just figuring it out. We were following our instincts. And the wonderful thing working with Steve and Edie and also our producer is I never felt we had to deliver anything in particular, that he really wanted us to let the material drive us, for it to be a creative experience. So I've never worried about, gee, does that work? I'm always worried about, does the story work? Is the song good? Are we being true to the character? And I've never felt, and I've been in many highly competitive commercial productions that had to deliver, and I carry a responsibility to our investors. I never shun that responsibility. But I have to say, it's been very embracing. It's been a wonderful, we've been allowed to have great privacy as we've developed this. And that's a privilege in the theater. It's really a privilege in the theater.
Well, we're all really excited to see it, you know, so we really appreciate you guys taking the time. Just, you know, look at the camera, final sell on why we should come see it at the Kennedy Center.
We will make you laugh and we'll break your heart, but we'll send you out just stomping your feet.
And humming the tunes.
And humming the tunes. God, can I say something?
No, we're done. No, go ahead.
You know, Steve and Edie wanted to write, in the very best way, what they call an old-fashioned kind of romantic musical. And what I love about this show is it's what I call a pre-neurotic musical.
Pre-neurotic.
It's you know, it's like nobody is emotionally ambivalent. I love you, but I think, and you know, it's like
long before the Woody Allen hand.
Long before the Woody Allen and really the ambivalent, emotional ambivalence of Sondheim. People used to stand there in the wind and say, "I love you eternally," and I'm devoted to you, and you're my favorite person. Yeah. And this has an open-heartedness and a purity, an emotional purity that's rare in contemporary life, in contemporary culture, film, whatever. And it's disarming. It's winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you heard it from them. They said they'll make you laugh, they'll break your heart, and might even knock your poster down. So come out and see Bright Stars here at the Kennedy Center, I think through mid-January, January 10th?
January 10th.
There it is. There it is.
And on to Broadway.
Exactly. But catch it here before, and then go see it again up there, and then you can compare the two. All right. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.